Hello. So we will be discussing now the Unit 7, which is Advanced Image Manipulation Techniques. So we will start with Lesson 1, familiarizing. Wait, why it's so loading? Familiarizing with an image editing application. So we'll start with this one with a question. How often do you share images on your social media accounts? So I've seen some of you, might be my friends in some social media accounts like Instagram, um, Facebook also. And I've seen also some of you oftentimes nag-share og mga pictures nila or images nila in social media accounts. Diba? Me also. You do have also here question, do you edit your images before posting them? So, di ba, usahay if dili ta confident sa mga pictures nga yung na-take na to. Sometimes i-edit na to. Siya gamay, enhance lang ang color, ang light, ang lighting, sa padira, ang mga effects also. For example, uh, ang contrast. So, we will do a little bit editing with that one. So we have here the video. You can watch this video. It's identifying how to spot a fake image online. So you can watch this one. Tapos we have here guide questions. What are fake images? What are the possible effects of spreading fake images? How to detect fake photos. Tapos how to avoid being a victim of fake images also. So what are the basic image editing applications? So the first one, we have two types of basic editing application. Natay ginatawag na built-in application. The same time, napod tayo third-party applications. Ang built-in kani pakapin ang pagpalit sa ato ang unit or sa atong gadgets. Ang third-party applications, those applications na kailangan pa nato siya i-download, tapos iparan sa ato ang system. Okay, built-in applications, examples of this one are Windows, Android, macOS, and iOS. So, di ba? It's the built-in applications where taog OS atong unit mo na siya ang pakapi na siya. Pag Windows, especially sa ko Acer, I'm using Windows. So na siya MS Paint, MS Photos, and etc. So Android na tay Gallery, Google Photos, and etc. Mac OS, Apple Photos, iOS na photo applications in iOS also. Okay? So third-party applications, PixArt, Snapseed, Snapchat, Pixlr, tapos Pizza. So those are the examples also. Pinaka-common rin, PixArt, Snapseed also, and Snapchat, di ba? Nami maka-edit na rin. So makaputi siya taman. What image editing software have you used in the past? Come on, sa inyong mga ginagamit. What kind of image editor was it? Then why did you use it? Oh, I use Photogrid, tama ba? So ito mga collage man to, tapos Photoshop also. May mga editor. Gallery, pwede maka-edit dira. Sabi na sa iOS, sa iPhone, ano po kanang editor dira. So enhance lang mga colors. Instagram also. Okay, pwede po ka maka-edit o ano dira sa Instagram. So why did you use it? Why did I use it? To enhance my pictures also, to look it presentable on when I shared it on online or some social media accounts. Because, di ba, kaya ilang yun photogenic, tapos, di ba, depende na sa editing skills nilang ginagamit also. Okay, so advanced image editing application, good for those who want to make additional advanced adjustments to image. Tapos, katong mga nag-howd na jud sila. Gamit na sila mga Photoshop. So users can apply different effects on different parts of the image. So natagitawag na Adobe Photoshop. I know you're familiar with this one. Sa kaning application, nag-use siya og layer-based editing. So kung for example, ang una lang sa nimo ang background. So naga-layer siya. Tapos ang color, so pa imong ipang-add ng mga text. So it allows users to create and edit images with many overlays. Overlays, tapos i-save siya in one many formats. Pag save niya siya, isa lang siya picture. Okay. Next. Okay. What is the tip in editing image? Practice image editing using different applications in Photoshop CC. Aside from being a lot cheaper than the full version. So this kani siya makatabang ni siya para ma-familiarize nato ang katong mga editing tools sa Adobe. Tapos some features of these applications are also present in the Photoshop CC. Okay, the other one, this one, Look familiar with this one? Okay, I will be putting my image here. Photoshop interface. So, mao ni mga features makita nato dito ah. So, one, naa diri ang kaning pinaka-center. Mao ni ang document window, tapos document tab also makita nato diri sa two, zoom level and status bar. You have to familiarize with this one lang siya, because you will using this one frequently if you will use this Photoshop. Okay, toolbar, options bar, where you can find some options also. Menu, tapos panels, workspaces. And sa latest version, nana siya search bar. Okay, so here is the Photoshop basics. Opening and creating new images, zooming and panning on document, and you can save your work also with this Photoshop basics. Tapos, opening and creating new images. Okay, how? Siyempre, upper left side na file dito sa menu bar. Tapos, open a dialog box. It will appear. Okay, go back to here. So, diri. Na-file diri dapit. Okay, sa diri Okay, so, opening mo, then a dialog box will appear also that will help you locate and select the existing image you want to work with. So if you want to create new image, click na po ka sa file, then choose new. So along with zooming and panning, okay, how do we do this then? Along with toolbar, makita ninyo nito, kita na to ang zoom and hand. Unsay timailan pag zoom na siya, looks like magnifying glass. So unsay purpose niya, nag-allow us to zoom the image in and out. Tapos ang hand tool looks like a hand. Unsay purpose niya, users pan, users to pan the image. It allows users to pan the image. So as undo command like Control Z, kung gusto ka balikon to nimo kay mer dili kay siya nindot, so balikon to nimong previous. So nga imong gibuhat, so kay undo nimo. Pero you can use shortcuts pag Windows, Control Z, pag anang Mac OS, it's Command Z. So if you want to undo multiple steps, select step backward multiple times. Tapos natin ginatawag na redo. Okay, to para ma-redo na to ang last thing we did. Go to edit and found the menu bar and select redo. So you can also use same keyboard shortcut with undo also. Okay? Okay. Then how to save? Of course, this is very important. Sometimes lami kaya itong pag-edit pero di nato siya ma-save. So, naiduha ka papaagi pag-save diri sa menu bar, sa file again, na dito yung makakuha na itong save or save as. So, pag ma-retain ang layers gihapon para maka-type ka and other maka-edit pa ka sa mga properties ng imong gibuhat dito you can save work in Photoshop format. So for example, myedit.psd ang file name niya. So pero if you want to be katong standard image nga pwede siya ma-open sa other program, pwede siya ma-share, pwede siya ma-post online, pwede nato siya i-save in JPEG format or PNG format. So it's best para sa to it's best to save work in both ways. Kung pwede pa kay edit to, ihatag na nimo sa imong client or sa imong gimuan, na kay something i-edit. So napakay sa Photoshop format, pwede pa nimo mailisan. Okay, tip for this one, review other basic tasks in cropping, rotating, or resizing. Although Adobe Photoshop is more advanced among with the image editing applications, so there are still some tools and commands that share the same functionality. So practice makes perfect talaga. Sige. Diba? Ako, I really not familiar with the Photoshop before, pero hinay-hinay, introduce yourself with this one. And then, ma-familiarize sila mo nimo, makita na dayon nimo siya diri. Okay, so you can watch a video for a brief overview of Photoshop's interface and tools as their basic tasks niya, kasi magamit niya. So with this video, you can watch this one, Photoshop. I know you're familiar with this one, so we'll proceed with the other lesson, the lesson 2. Okay, we're done with lesson 1 under unit 7. Now we will proceed with the lesson 2 directly. Okay, it's still loading. Why? So, by the way, i-record na ka ni kay last week wala ta kabit no. So at least, di ba? So kamo lang may magbasa atong sa unit 6. Sa unit 7, I promise na will be giving you the recording discussion with this one. So adding artistic distortion effects. Let's ask ourselves, what's a distortion, sir? So we will try to Kani siya. Usahay makita ta pictures. How this single picture depicts such interesting meanings behind this one. So ginaunsa nila ni pag-create ang amazing pictures. Kanang nindot mo kayo mga pictures, di ba? Pag when scroll our pictures sa Instagram, basically, ganun, manindutan nila pictures, uy, bisag dili kayo, nindot now, di ba? Nindot siya kayo pag-akuha ang pictures, kaya nga photogenic kayo, nindot kayo pagka-edit. Okay, so we'll try. to discuss this one. We're talking about distortion. Ano siya pasabot sa distortion? It refers to the modification. I-modify nimo in design or ang appearance sa object in the image. Okay, how do you distort an image without ruining its beauty? How can you add artistic distortion effects in an image? Sometimes bago na to ang size sa pikas, tapos ma-at stake ang image, ang subject sa image. So maano na noon siya. Okay, so next one, we have here Photoshop filters and effects. So natay ginatawag na artistic filters, blur filters, brush stroke filters, distort filters, noise filters, and pixelate filters. The other one, render, sharpen, sketch, stylize, texture, and video, and other filters also can use. Photoshop filter guidelines. So the first one is applying a filter will only affect on the active and visible layer in the selection of an image. So there are some filters also that can only use on RGB images only. So there are some tanaw na to siya usahay because naay usahay ng mga filters na ma-process lang siya in sa RAM only. Okay, so having not enough storage available to process will cause an error in the application. So nindot edit niya pag man loading na siya. So wala tanan nimo loading. So you need to know it well muna, di ba? So filter guidelines, image bitmap mode or index color images cannot use filters. All filters support 8 bits per channel images. Kaya kasagaran filters for 8-bit its images can be applied cumulatively through filter gallery or applied individually. So natay 16 ang kailangan applied in tawag aning indicated images. So 16-bit images, 32-bit images. 16-bit liquify, vanishing point, average blur, all classes of blur except Gaussian blur because we can find it in 32-bit images. Can add noise, clouds, lens flare, and smart sharpen in 32-bit images. Mas advanced siya. Lens correction, add noise in 16-bit. Okay. So next is, how do you apply filters in the mentioned above? Okay. So first is, apply filter from filter gallery. Tapos apply a filter from filter menu. Natay tips in Photoshop filter. Create edge effects. Then applying filters to layers. And then applying filters to individual channels. Then creating backgrounds also is very good, important. Okay, combining multiple effects with mask or duplicate images. Kaya ang mga layers. Thus improving image quality and consistency. So there is tip here. Mag-explore lang ta sa filters Adobe Photoshop yung gina-offer nila. Then as what I've said earlier, practice makes perfect. So practice to be more familiarized with each tool. Pag kabalo na ka unsa ni paggamit, kabalo ka mag-unsa ni pag-adjust. Then try to mix and match effects to an image. So makabalo na taan. Okay, let's proceed to lesson 3. Dali lang no. Okay, so lesson 3, we have a drawing and painting with image editing software. So di ba? Baka bantay tao sa how those infographics made. Kabalo unsaon to nakahimo na ba mo ani before mga infographics? So how can you make your own infographic? Tanaw nato siya. Okay. So what are the elements of design muna? Okay, we have here fundamentals of design. First is very ni siya? Line, shape, form, 'di ba? Sa mape sa una sa arts namin ni siya. Texture, color, space. Ang line, makita na to siya ang saan ka symmetrical, ang shape niya, ang form, texture, gaspang siya tan-awon, hugaw siya tan-awon, color, how it is so attractive, and space. Kanang unsa siya kaluag, unsa siya kaguot sa iyong mata. Okay, this one, line. Basically, mostly ang designs niya use drawing, creating texture patterns and backgrounds. Okay, so shape naman, it's the a two-dimensional or 2D or 3D na mga tawag na to. Object that has defined or amplified boundary. Tapos shapes can be geometric or organic also. So ang form here, what is the form of an image? So 2D shapes are transformed into 3-dimensional shapes. Okay, so di ba katong mga ponyo nga cartoons, inato naman to siya, no, 2D siya. So, gi-transform siya in 3-dimensional shapes na siya. Mura na siya, feeling ni mo, na siya yung mga sides. So, an illustration that create by shading or adding other visual effects to a shape to indicate depth. Okay. So, texture naman, kato ganina akong giingon, feeling mo gaspang siya ang picture tan-awon, di ba? Kung feeling mo kung ngunita siya gaspang, hait. So, it's the way the surface perceived to feel or the way surface feels. Okay, so it has two types, feel or can be touched and visual. So, implied lang, makita lang siya. Okay. The other one is color also. This is very important. Kaya, matingala ka, naindot kayo ilang color combination aside from that appealing kayo ilang visual images. It's because also they study color wheel. Kaya most of kining mga fashion designers, they know what are the complementary colors. Okay, when we talk about complementary colors class, kana na siyang sa color wheel, ang kaatbang niya nga color. So mao na siya yung complementary color. Mao na pag i-combine na siya nga mga color, dili siya hugaw tan-awon or dili siya mautan-awon because that's what we call complementary colors. So ang color here is used to change the mood of the viewer and to tell a story. It helps us to tell the story also. Okay, when talk about space, kapag kaluagon, ganina, kaguton, creates grouping also. It creates impact also on the image that you are editing. So in the elements, it creates emphasis and hierarchy, and it proves legibility. Okay, for example, ganan, gamay ka siya taada ko yung space. So how does this image imply? So kaya nga itong song na a picture paint 1,000 words. So it depicts on how strong your image are. So how can you use the fundamentals of design to present your data in concise and attractive way? So drawing and painting in Adobe Photoshop. Okay, so paint with brush tool or pencil tool. Okay, you can choose a foreground color first, then select brush tool, then pencil, or you can use pencil tool. Tapos, feeling mo paghugawan ka sa brush tool. Select a preset brush, tapos set tool options in the options bar. Okay, so do one more of the following. Click and drag the image to paint, draw straight line. Pwede ka na click starting point and the image, then hold down shift and click ending point. Okay, pag magamit nga itag brush tool as an airbrush, mag-hold down ta sa mouse button without dragging to build up a color also. Okay, so this one. Okay, so next, we do have here the lesson 4. Under the advanced image manipulation techniques, natay principles of visual image design using infographic. Okay. So, proceed. This one. How can you combine text and image properly? Diba? Excuse me. What principles of graphic design should be followed? And then, understanding the principles also. So, anong nindot mo kay pagka-combine, anong nindot ilang color, nindot kayong pagka-edit. So, because it follows principles of design. Principles of design na tinatawag na balance, proximity, alignment, hierarchy, and repetition and contrast also. So, let's talk about balance. Okay, balance is the visual weight of your design. Dili pasabot nga nagbutang kag bato diri sa pikas, magbutang po kag bato. Natay ginatawag na symmetrical and asymmetrical. Okay, when talk about symmetrical, pagbuta kag kahoy diri, mag-edit kag kahoy, butang po kag kahoy diri ah. Dapat asymmetrical balance. Okay, mag-space ka diri, then kahoy lang diri ah. So dili siya ano ba, murag bugat tanaw ng pikas, then bugat or gaan kay tanaw ng pikas. So that's what we call balance. This one, a good example for a symmetrical balance is this, the image presented on you. So it's the visual weight of your design. This is very important also. Ang proximity is the closeness or distance of objects to each other. Kung unsa ang gusto nimo ipahayag sa audience, unsa imong gusto nga ma-feel nila about your image, then the good principle for this one is proximity. For example, if you want to touch the emotion of the animals, of a person, so syempre close up. Okay, if you want to with the surroundings also, syempre mas layo siya by far. Hindi mo kwaon ang image. Okay, alignment also is very important because nga naman, it brings order to the design and ensures that elements have the connection. Na sila connection with each other. Magbutang ka og kanang kahoy diri niya, magbutang ka og tarak-tarak di sa pika. So what's the alignment? What's the connection between those pictures or kining objects nga nasa isa ka image? So it prevents your design from having a messy look. Hugaw na kay siya tan-awon. Okay, hierarchy naman. Okay, aside from color, established using larger, bolder fonts. Kung bukat ka tanan pud ang iyang kuan way pagkaano. So using shapes and frame the focal point, then putting the object ang text higher than the others. This is what we call the hierarchy ang pagkasunod-sunod niya. Okay, repetition is very important also because it creates rhythm. Aside, di ba? When we listen to music, naindot siya paminahon po ang rhythm. That's what we call repetition also. Sa image also, it applies this principle also. Because nga naman, it creates rhythm by tying together the consistent elements such as ang logo or ang color palette. Okay. So, the contrast also. This is, side mag-edit sa atong phone, ma-appeal pa ba nato ni? Pag masubraan yung contrast, di ba, murag mo pula na siya, murag malat siya na siya tanawon. Tanawon na to, it directs the viewer's attention to the most important elements. Siyempre, naman tayo subject na ginatawag sa isa ka image. So, para ma-highlight na siya, i-adjust na to ang contrast, ana. It helps different elements stand out. Okay, dili mapag-iwanan siya. So what should be emphasized in your infographic? So how are you going to emphasize it? So you can use these principles of design also. So this is actually not used in images also, but it's very important also. You need to understand also because it can use in music, in other art form, whether in creating videos also or in creating presentations also. We can use these principles also. So that's for Unit 7. Thank you for joining and listening to our discussion. And my task for you is that you will find kanang picture ninyo sa inyong sarili nga raw picture niyo sa inyong sarili. Then i-collage ninyo with katong gi-edit ninyo nga picture sa inyong self. Tapos following the principles na og kanang kining elements sa design. So edit ninyo. Makita man ako na siya kung yun sa ninyo siya. Katong una nyo nga image nga raw picture, tapos picture ninyo nga gipang edit ninyo. Then i-collage niyo nang duha. Tapos mao na niyo yung i-paste dito sa Quipper nga link. So ako na maghatag lang ko ana sir. Please do remind lang mi ana nga maghatag ko anag kuhan. So that's my task. So uban kung wala nila naging mga video dili nila ay nagsaba sa uban nga nahay task-an. So kaya para mahuman po nila ang video. So thank you for joining. Goodbye everyone.